a whole network going. A whole network of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And I do believe we are going, right? Yes. It is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 AD, guys. We're going to have a fun show, hopefully. Talk about this anti-war demonstrations. So full of love, fake love, and hate. Real hate. On many sides, on many sides. That's why I'm for our greatest president taking power again. And putting the clamp, not the clamp down, putting the smack down. Even though you guys think he's taking a side or taking the wrong side or whatever, some of you guys. Because he's very pro-Israel and stop these protests now. And it's a bunch of women going, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Bunch of Nazis. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it. You can call in about it or about whatever you like. I'll show you some cool birds from my beach visits that some of you may have missed if you're going to watch the video feed here. Kevin Howe in the chat asks, is it me or has Hake gotten bigger? That's because I got my alpha jerky. I didn't tell you guys yesterday how to get alpha jerky. BigClubUSA.com. Hake is in the big club now. BigClubUSA.com. And you can buy your alpha jerky there. I think you can even try promo code JLP33. I ordered mine. And it worked. And it came up relatively quickly. So I'll open it up and try it. And tell you how I like it. I'm peering at it. This is a hefty 10-ounce bag. That's like 2/3 of a pound almost. 10 ounces, right? A pint's a pound the world around, 16 ounces. So, yeah, nice. I don't get money from that either. Yes. What else will I cover? People don't care about you. And better than the gas station, alpha jerky, beef jerky, by the way, says American Anchor Baby. And, you know, different, so nice, right on. Okay. Anyway, guys, I guess let's just get started with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, I'm chuckling because Ned Post says Hake isn't getting bigger, his shirts are just getting smaller. That's how I feel sometimes about my shirts.
You spill water all the way from the kitchen to the front room to the here.
That wouldn't have been me.
That might have been me.
That was you, Hassan?
Yeah.
Is it
JLP accusing Hake of spilling water. What am I, Joel Part 2? I remember Joel Friday got accused of stuff when he filled in for the Hake Report. Joel Friday TV, live, Monday through Thursday, not Fridays. Even though, well, I won't get into it. But Joel Friday TV, follow him on YouTube and IG, and allmylinks.com/Joel Friday TV. Hake is not good at numbers. Yeah, I remember when I was getting fatter, okay, not fitter, but fatter. I was like, man, these clothes are they're shrinking. What the Hake? Pants, shirt, everything. And JLP is like, you're getting fat. And one of the personal trainer guys who used to come on the Jesse Lee Peterson show would be like, nah, Hake's good. But no, it was actually true. And I weighed myself at my friend's house November after Trump lost the 2020 election. I was 183 pounds. I was like, what? I never thought that I could get over 165 pounds. Oops, I doxed my weight. Terrible. By the way, you guys can super chat, and I appreciate it. buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report or Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/The Hake Report. Or streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. All kinds of different ways, just not on YouTube. Okay, because YouTube has demonetized Hake. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. Okay. So let's show these clips of these birds from the beach streams. I just want to promote the beach streams, and I'll try to describe the birds for the audio podcast listeners. Maybe I'll put it in my thumbnail because birds are cool. This is about a 2-minute clip from last Saturday, and it starts off with the Saturday before last with the, how do you pronounce that thing? Cormorant? C-O-R-M-O-R-A-N-T. The A-N-T is the same ending as pheasant. Cormorant. Kofi. Court, help me out. But anyway, it's like this black, tall bird with black pad feet things, and with webbed toes. And then it has a cool beak. It's tall, and it looks like it was dipped in oil. Check it out. Cool, huh?
That's a proud bird.
Proud bird. In beautiful San Onofre. And I was really close to it.
My arm is within 2 feet of him.
I was like within arm. I could have.
Maybe more. Maybe 30 inches.
He was almost within reach. And then this is a different bird the following week. This is not a stork, a pelican. A brown pelican. Cool, huh? And he's protecting his neck, chin down. That's how you're supposed to fight, chin down. With a big old long beak and the feathers and black. I like black feet. It's cool. On birds. Look at, here, take me away right now. Look at this. Look at that. What a magnificent bird. He looks like a pterodactyl. Look at that. He's opening his mouth. Look at his throat. It's like Hake's throat. With that loose skin. Old folks have that loose skin. And look at the little birds in the background. Cool. This is San Onofre down near San Clemente. Just passed. See the ocean. This bird's eyeing me or looking at me. Cool, huh? Some of you guys who watch the premieres, the beach stream premieres, pre-recorded, that I've been putting out on a few Sundays, have seen this. And then he flies off and looks like a pterodactyl. Cool, huh? I think it's cool. So you never know what you may see at the beach. The chicks are neat. And by chicks, I mean baby birds. Cool, look at that. Wow. Nice. So he's flying away for the audio podcast listeners. You hear the ocean. Isn't that nice? And you see the cliffs, the dirt, soft dirt cliffs. So just thought I would share that with you. Are birds real? The Bird Whisperer says 12 Friday TV, live Monday through Thursday, 11 to 12 Pacific time at this point. Nice. Hake hanging out with other government informants. Yes, indeed, because the birds they have video cameras, and they're spies. I just wanted to show that to you guys because I do these beach streams, and they're not live because you get a better quality picture when I pre-record it, and then I splice it all together and show it to you guys. Hake talking like he's never seen a bird before. Birds are cool, like they steal the show. If I had a bird right here, right now, you guys wouldn't be watching me, you'd be watching the bird. You want to make hand puppets out of him, Joel. So isn't that sweet? You know what else is sweet? These Israel, Palestine, USA, Republican, and anti-war and anti-Semitism, so-called, war drama. Come here to America. It's ridiculous. Listen to these birds right now. clip 42 I want to play here. These, are they fit birds or are they fat birds? You won't be able to see them. You'll just hear their voices, and it sounds like female voices, female human beings. Michael Tracy, M. Tracy on Twitter. He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show a couple of times. Independent journalist. I like him. He's atheist. He's a liberal, but he's an independent thinker. He wore a yarmulke to this protest and wore like a Star of David to this protest. I don't know if he's Jewish. I used to think he wasn't, but now I'm like, wait, is he? Is he just dressing up that way to see if they harass him? But you also have to act like a scared or defensive Jewish person at these protests in order to invite the harassment, of course, right? Duh. And then on top of it, they'll be like, you're just a Jew. And then there's Jews who are participating in these anti-war, anti-Israel, if you want to call it that, or anti-colonialist, pro-Palestine so-called protests. Protests here in America, it's ridiculous, on these college campuses. Because I guess, are these college campuses subsidizing or being subsidized by Israeli organizations or something? That's what they want. Boycott, divestment, and sanctions. BDS. Some of you guys want that too, but these guys want to get rid of you too, of course. Many of them. Anyway, here's Michael Tracy posted this on X. Meanwhile, the quote-unquote violent and quote-unquote Nazi chanting continues at a random intersection. And this is in America somewhere. And I think it might be New Jersey, because he was in Princeton University checking out the protests and reporting about it. And they were nice to him. His yarmulke flew off in the wind, and one of them went and picked it up and gave it to him. And again, I don't know if Michael Tracy, what is he? He's an atheist. Protesters have herded, like a herd. Oh no, it's a flock of birds. The fear generated by these 20-something girls, and I think he's referring to their age, not 20-some-odd girls, 20-something age girls. If they're girls, they're under 18, Michael Tracy. They're young ladies. Chanting, "From the river to the sea," is simply overwhelming. I can barely breathe, says Michael Tracy, being sarcastic, which I kind of like about him. So here, enjoy this protest, them chanting. You can hear it from in the background, and you're at a street. Here it is. Oh, Lord. The drums, the tambourine. Hey, syncopation. They're blocking a street. Hey, switch up. Hey, there's a male. I think it's a male voice. I like chants because they're amusing somewhat. 20-some-odd is not English. Says, come on, man. I kind of like chants because they're sort of catchy. They're corny as heck, but they're catchy. They're amusing. They're oftentimes immature. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Palestine has got to go. Or whatever. They wouldn't say that. Who brought the tambourine? Women. And I heard a male voice, at least it sounded like a male voice. Maybe it was one of those, "It's ma'am," people chanting for Palestine. But these are women. Women. Chants are made to hypnotize. Women don't belong. I didn't like the sister suffragettes. You know, the people who were, the ladies who were for, I liked them, but I don't support the protesting part. Because it's dumb, it's silly, it's not necessarily changing any minds, it's a turnoff for normal people. I guess I guess some people's minds could be changed. You meet somebody nice. I thought about niceness. I was listening to either Joel Friday, or maybe it was American Anchor Baby, or somewhere. I was listening to somebody. Oh, it was listening to the archived JLP thing yesterday. I was walking around the neighborhood, and this young black man in 1998 talking to Jesse Lee Peterson. He's like, oh, teachers care about you. The white teachers sometimes care about you. And I'm like, wait, teachers are liberals. Teachers don't care about you, but they have that mama nicey nice spirit. And then they said, oh, I experienced racism for police. They picked me up in a white neighborhood. They thought I was up to no good. And I'm like, oh, so nice people at the anti-war demonstration and nice LGBTs, nicey nice gays who are nice to you, maybe, if they don't realize that you don't agree with them, they can change people's minds to be on the side of evil. Because, oh, these people are just normal, nice people. So that can change people's minds, of course. Or, like American Anchor Baby once, or a number of times has said, he was not really believing in God, but he wouldn't call himself an atheist. But then he met a girl. She's like, I'm an atheist. Me too. Me too. I remember one girl said, I don't like hiking in the heat. I'm like, oh, yeah, me neither. And I don't care about hiking in the heat. Hiking in the heat is kind of fun. You know, I used to run cross-country practice and track practice at like 2:30 p.m. or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it gets plenty warm. That might be the hottest part of the day, actually, even though the sun's past its prime, or whatever you call it. So women can be convincing to the weak-minded males who are just overeager to please and easily swayed somewhat, and simps. The simp within. It's the Adam and Eve syndrome. Simping is hilarious. What's wrong with us? Asks Chris. Yeah, it's terrible. Hake is not married yet? Not yet. Well, you say yet as though it's going to happen. One never knows the future. Tomorrow is not even promised to us, to me. You fool. This very night your life will be taken from you. Something like that. It's in the Bible. But, you know, a lot of, back to this protest thing, a lot of Jewish people or pro-Israel people feel that that is basically saying the river, which river is that? Is it the Nile River? What Nile? It's not the Nile. Is it? Which river to which sea? It's between the river and the sea is where Israel is, and Gaza and the West Bank. So it sounds like they're trying to, like what JLP says, push Israel into the ocean. I don't know geography. Do you happen to know? I forget.
Well, I hear a lot about Euphrates River, but I don't think that's there.
Me neither.
I think it's in Iraq.
Oh, okay.
But
Euphrates asked Beta Legs too. The Jordan River? Oh, River Jordan.
that sounds right.
Roll, Jordan, roll. River Jordan. Roll, Jordan, roll. The Nile, SMH.
But
Jordan River Hake.
if you ask these folks about that whole thing,
Yeah.
what they're saying is that they want it to be the whole thing to be Palestine,
It sounds like it.
but they can also live there.
But Israel can also live there?
Well, Jews can live there,
Jews can live there?
Yeah.
That's what was... Is that what it was before? According to
according to them.
what they say?
Yeah.
And who knows what the truth is? I know I don't know. Some of you guys may know. And which sea is that? Is that the... it's not the Black Sea. The Dead Sea. No, not the Dead Sea. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, so that it feels like, oh, you're going to ethnically cleanse. Well, the Jews can still live there. Okay. Oh, and there'll be a minority, and it'll be kind of like South Africa is for the whites, will be what Palestine will be for the Jews. I imagine, because a lot of these people have a vindictive spirit. Both sides, I think, have a nasty spirit towards one another. They're both kind of brainwashed against each other, I think. But some of them feel, oh, no, they want to ethnically cleanse us. So which one's is going to win in this ethnic cleansing battle? Right now, they're pushing all the people south, the ones from Gaza, south, 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 go into Egypt, you losers, or you suckers. It's what I heard from one analyst. And I'm not against a little get on out of here type of thing. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It's there. Let the men handle their situation over there. Isn't that is it fair? Whatever. But anyway, this protest thing, it's women and they're caught up and they don't know everything. And it's mess. But they're not the only messy people. Let me show you this. Chip Roy is a representative, a Republican. I think I like him. I don't know. I don't pay much attention. And he's protesting on the House floor, House of Representatives in America, against both Republicans and Democrats, and I kind of like him for this, about the government. I think I saw that the government, didn't they pass something in the Congress saying anti-Semitism awareness bill or something like that? Is that what it was that they passed? And they did not debate it. They rammed it through. They being the Republicans and the demon rats. And it was bipartisan, which sounds to me like it was something evil. And Trump may or may not have been for it. I'm not sure. Maybe probably was. Who knows? But I don't know if I agree. I don't think that I agree with this thing at all. First of all, they spell it all one word. That's even worse than pretending that it exists. Because on top of pretending that it exists, you're spelling it all in one word. Anti-Semitism, no hyphen. And that's what the liberals have been pushing. The ones who change the language and introduce words and evolve those words in order to change how you think, or change how different suckers think, anyway. To scare, to pretend like they're against hate, when they're hating. So here's, and it's kind of like hate speech laws, hate crimes legislation. We should abolish all of that because all of that is evil. Because an ideology doesn't produce the violence, anger produces the violence, and everybody's guilty of anger. So you're not supposed to be abolishing ideologies. That's why I disagree with Europe abolishing the Nazism and abolishing, questioning the Holocaust and all that stuff, or denying it or whatever. That's evil mama spirit. You're not getting rid of evil. You're fighting evil with more mama, with more evil. Or you're fighting something that may not even necessarily be evil. It's ham-fisted. It's communist, of course. So here's Chip Roy. It's about almost 4 minutes long, okay? But he's speaking against something that his fellow Republicans did. And then he's kissing up to the idea of anti-Semitism, by the way. But, you know, you kind of have to when you're in the thing, in the government, I guess. When you're in polite company like Washington, D.C. Give me a break. Here it is. Policing thought. I'm shaking my head. Clip 43 here. Chip Roy. Where is he from, anyway? Texas. He's from Texas. This is tweeted out by his press. He's bald. He has a goatee. And he's white. Let me know when you're ready, Hassan. It takes a second sometimes. And this was quote tweeted by Oilfield Rando. Help us out, Nico, if you can. It's frozen. Oilfield Rando quote tweeted this. We're having problems with the clip. Hang on. There's like a dozen Republicans like this Chip Roy fellow who's for freedom of speech and freedom of thought, not to impose and police people's thinking. You punish them for the crimes that they do, not for their thinking about it, not for their, oh, I want to commit a terrorist act and strike fear in the hearts of the blacks by targeting the blacks. That's irrelevant. Okay, we've established a motive, but you don't punish them for the motive. You punish them for the crime. It's just dividing. All that stuff does is divide. And everybody wants to say, oh, see, hate crime. Everybody wants their thing to them to be, everybody wants to claim to have been hate crimed against. Everybody wants to claim to have been genocided. It's ridiculous. Victim Olympics. Before you play it, there's like a dozen Republicans like this who actually try to stop insane legislation all the time, and they're all portrayed as lunatics. Yeah, I remember, who's that guy that you guys like? You InfoWars type people. My competitor type people. Ron Paul. They successfully portrayed him as a nutcase to Hake. Hake thought, oh, that guy's a weirdo. All he ever does is, so what? I don't care. And I kind of understood it. I kind of agreed a little bit. I don't care what's going on overseas. Let them handle it. But libertarians are also lawbertarians. And so I might have been sort of right. But he was right about so much. It's kind of amazing to step back and examine that. So here's Chip Roy, I think.
But here's the thing. Yet again today on the floor of the House of Representatives, we had another show vote to make people feel good about themselves by passing a bill that says anti-Semitism in the title. That's what happened. And it was put on the floor by Republican leadership. And it was put on the floor by Republican leadership despite knowing that it was pulled from going through committee. We didn't have a chance to amend it. We didn't have a chance to discuss it, to debate it. We didn't have a hearing on it. It was jammed through to take advantage of this political moment while all of these horrific things are going around the country. Republican leadership wanted to score political points, so they moved through legislation without the kind of deliberation, debate that is supposed to be carried out by the people in this chamber. As a result, today, a significant number of my Republican colleagues, including myself, voted no.
Nice.
As a result, we will be accused of, I don't know, being for anti-Semitic behavior, being accused by our friends and allies of not wanting to support Israel, supporting our Jewish American colleagues and friends, constituents, fellow Americans. Nothing could be further from the truth, but that's what will happen. And it'll happen because we dared to stand up and say, we don't believe in thought police.
That's right.
We don't believe that a bill should be brought to the floor of the United States House of Representatives, having not gone through committee, that has a reference in it to international organizations' definitions, literally in the statute, and then taking that international organization's definition, and then literally in the statute, representing and referencing the examples of anti-Semitic behavior. Now, I find the vast majority of the things that were listed in that to be horrific activity.
Boo.
Most likely, if not certainly, anti-Semitic, at least in most contexts. Some of them are problematic.
Give me a break. That's a
In
liberal word.
totality, they certainly raise First Amendment concerns. They certainly raise concerns about something that I've opposed to the best of my knowledge and ability, reading through pieces of legislation at every turn, in every vote, to oppose the whole notion of hate speech, hate crimes, thought police, thought crimes, putting the government into your head and your motivations when you're engaged in criminal behavior. Criminal behavior is criminal behavior.
Duh.
Violating people's civil rights is violating people's civil rights.
No such thing.
But when we want to insert the government into what you're thinking and what motivates you, you are empowering that which should never be empowered. The ability of the government to police thought, to police speech, to police your views. Not the views that carry out then the actions. The actions are the problem. Police the actions.
Not the thought. Don't be policing people's thoughts. Oh, you can't say that here. Well, I will police thoughts for the sake of the channel, of course. So I can sympathize with Chip Roy acknowledging stuff is problematic. That's a liberal word, Chip Roy. And I like how he said literally. It always makes me chuckle when people say literally. But overall, I agree with Chip Roy about this stuff. He's basically protesting against the silly, evil notion of hate crimes and so-called hate speech. What's up, Strifecast? Hey. Did you know Hake is on Kick? He is. That's me. Right on, Chip Roy. Police your own thoughts. And you can't even really control your own thoughts. And when they do this stuff, it makes you want to think about those thoughts. And be like, oh, hey, is there any truth to this? Like when they clamp down, I know that happens to my friends in the flat earth world when they like put a community notes, well, excuse us, but the world is round. It's a ball. It's an obvious globe. They put obvious globe Wikipedia articles on the bottom of my beautiful flat earth discussions on YouTube. So they're like, it's not exactly policing it, but it's kind of, well, we think you Mama Spirit, we think you ought to know this extra context. Give me a break. Or the election was the most secure in history, according to CISA. It's a fact. It was pursued in the courts, and therefore it's a fact. And look at this, flat earth. Or the Costa Hale happened. And you can't deny it. And there's like reasonable Jews like Mark Zuckerberg, who is like, everybody who questions it or denies it or criticizes the so-called accepted history about it isn't necessarily a bad actor. They don't mean any harm. But everybody freaked out when he said that. He was at some hearing, I guess, a congressional hearing about violating people's right to free speech. These are American companies, and they're caving to the un-American values of the rest of the world. We should be imposing the freedom of speech on the rest of the world. Forget you. And I know that some of the countries will be like, okay, well, we're not going to allow your website into our country. Fine. But no, they will cave to like China and liberals around the world. Because the commie capitalism stuff, commie capitalists are for evil. They're not for freedom to believe stuff that may or may not be dumb or true or whatever. They're not for you to have a little bit of independent thinking, you know? It's ridiculous. So right on, Chip Roy. I'm with you, man. And I guess I'll get to more of this. I've spent over I've spent quite a bit of time on this Israel-Palestine war, USA Republican Rhino drama. I may get to more of it. I kind of intend to, like Trump and other stuff. But, because Mike Johnson's kind of silly to me. But he's also MAGA Mike Johnson, so maybe I'm supposed to like him. Because Trump called him MAGA Mike Johnson. And Trump said, shut down these protests. Stop the protests. And I can sympathize a little, because these protests aren't for us either. But first, let me get to a caller or two, guys. You can call in 1-888-775-3773. Joe in Phoenix, Arizona on the line here. How you doing, Joe?
Good morning, James.
Good morning.
All right. Hate crime laws.
Yeah.
The hate crime component is supposed to be a deterrent, James.
Isn't that evil?
That's all it's supposed to be.
It's not just a
I wouldn't
deterrent,
say
it's an
evil, no.
enhancer.
Enhancer in what way?
There's such a thing as a hate crime enhancement in many states, and maybe nationwide, the federal government, wherein the federal government can, one, get involved in a local issue. The federal government can get involved because they think it was a civil rights violation, a hate crime violation. That's evil. An enhancement, enhancement in the sense that
additional penalties.
Additional penalties, longer sentences, death penalty sometimes, all kinds of dumb stuff.
That's the deterrent. So they're not telling you not to have those thoughts. They're just telling you if you act on those thoughts, you're going to face additional penalties for doing so.
But that's not even, that's stupid. That's a violation of the First Amendment.
What are you talking about? You really are a lawyer. What are you talking about?
The First Amendment says you can have your freedom of speech.
You can express those thoughts all you want to.
Right.
Just don't commit a crime in connection with those thoughts.
Because you won't be punished merely for the crime. You'll be punished for your speech on top of that crime.
And that's
it's a violation of the First Amendment.
It is not.
Yes,
it
is.
Yes,
it is, you commie.
Don't say it.
Yes, it is, you commie.
They're not saying, get all your commies out, that's fine.
Yeah, because you're a commie.
They're not saying you're a fascist. That's fine.
No, I'm not a fascist. You're a commie. A fascist is pretty liberal. I'm center left, and a fascist is extreme left, and a communist is super mecha extreme left.
James,
which is what you are.
Is far right. What are you
no, it is. A fascist is not far right.
No, yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's far left, but it's more nationalist. No. That's the only thing right wing about a fascist.
You have zero idea what we're talking about. A fascist is literally for a strong man in charge, one person ruling over all. That is far right.
No, it's not.
Left.
You're lying now.
Yeah, it is.
No, a fascist is not for one strong man.
That's where the term came from. It came from Mussolini.
Right.
A strong man.
And Mussolini was a fascist because he was a liberal.
No, he was a far right extremist.
Far right extremist. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
In what sense?
He was one man in charge of the entire country, in charge of the whole government.
That's called a dictator.
Exactly. Far right.
That's not fascism.
Have you lost your mind?
You lost your mind. Mussolini was a liberal, says C.J. O'Connell, who knows. He also knew wolf eyes. I'm not fascist. Give me a break. You just throw around fascist because you're a communist. Communists scaremonger about fascists, even though communists are worse. Communists are worse than anybody.
Yeah, James, we're not going to that.
They're not worse than anybody. They're every bit as evil as everybody whom they judge.
Speaking of judging, you had a ball with your cyanide boy co-host yesterday, talking about those 4 teenagers in Florida, huh?
A ball earth.
And you were having all kind of fun saying, the media didn't even cover it. They were just criminals, blah, blah, blah. Yet you still are blissfully unaware of that. Lehman Brothers also, I told you about Goldman Sachs earlier, Lehman Brothers is also massive fraud this year. And did you see that the Fed themselves have been caught buying credit default swaps against states? Have you seen that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. I didn't understand it. Speak English.
I am speaking English. Credit default swaps, meaning the Fed can profit from and benefit from states defaulting on some of their loans. So basically, rooting against the states. How evil is that? So this is all happening. The American dream is being stolen away from you and all your fascist listeners, and you have
Fascist
no
listeners.
idea.
Are you a fascist?
You have no idea.
Are you a fascist?
Nope, I'm trying to help you people.
You're not trying to help. You're a mama. Help is hurt.
Trying to help you people.
No. You're a communist type of a help. Here, let me help you. And I will by throwing you in jail and supporting so-called hate speech laws, violating the Constitution. C.J. O'Connell, by the way, he was joking when he said what I read about whatever he said. But anyway,
I don't know who that is. I don't really care.
So the point is, Bill Lockwood, American
unaware
Liberty
of that.
with Bill Lockwood. Well, that's not his web address. Bill Lockwood said that fascism is far left, actually.
Well, he's wrong about
It's
that.
just a little bit to the right of communism. So who's the sucker now? Some people might disagree with me. Our resident historian might disagree with me on that because fascism was about unity.
The criminal, you mean?
You can name call him like a communist, of course, but
That's
fascism is about unity. You're not about truth. You're only about cherry-picked facts that distract from the truth, which is to say, you're a liar. But fascism is about
criminal. You mean?
Fascism is about unity, bound together. You're stronger, bound together. And there are fascias at the base of that fascist named Abe Lincoln, who was friends with a Marxist called Karl Marx. Was Karl Marx a Marxist? Was Jesus Christ a Christian?
What happened to?
Is America a fascist country because they had fascia on the Lincoln Memorial?
How did
Is America fascist?
End up, James?
Is America fascist?
It's a nonsense question. Of course not.
It's a nonsense because it's communist now. Of course, I know. I get you. Because they have hate speech laws that you support, and you call yourself a black Republican, black-hearted.
I didn't say I supported him. I just said it was a deterrent. That's all it is.
No, do you support hate speech laws?
I think it's an effective deterrent. Yes.
And so you do support it.
I said it's
Fascist.
deterrent. I'm not using your word.
Anti-white, fascist. Anti-freedom, fascist.
Okay, anti-white.
Yes, you are.
So again, you're blissfully unaware of all things happening, stealing away the American dream from average Americans. Yet you're so concentrating on, 4 criminals in Florida.
No, I'm not.
You're
the one who brought up the 4 criminals in Florida.
You talked about it for 10 minutes yesterday. We're talking about
10 minutes is not that long, dude.
2045 is coming, James, whether you like it or not.
And what's that? That sounds like an anti-white dog whistle.
It's the U.S. Census says is going to be the time when white folks are no longer the majority in this country.
So that's an anti-white dog whistle. Shame on you.
Again,
that's anti-white hate speech. You should be ashamed of yourself.
2045 is coming.
You better not.
You know what?
You better watch what you do. You better not act on. You better not.
Fault.
You better not act on your hate.
It's your fault, James.
What's my fault?
Because the main reason the census said is that the lowering of the white birth rate. It's not immigration. It's the falling birth rate of white people. And you're not having kids. You're not even married. So it's your fault.
How is it my fault that I'm not married and don't have kids? How do you blame me for that?
Well, you're the problem. You're an example of the problem.
How am I an example of the problem?
Because you're not having white babies.
What if it's not for me to be having white babies? Aren't you a Christian?
Then don't complain about 2045 coming then, because it's going to be here for you now.
I never even talk about 2045.
You and your cyanide boy co-host are petrified of that.
I got to bring out the snake again. Petrified?
Yep.
So you're pushing fear. Huh?
No, you're the one saying how fear it is. There's no black-run country that treats white people well. Nonsense, first of all. False, second of all. And just this is going to be a non-white country.
And you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a good thing?
It's just a fact, James.
Is it a good thing?
Good, bad, or indifferent, it's just a fact.
Is it a good thing?
And it's your fault.
You're acting like it's a fault. So you agree with me that it's a bad thing?
It's your fault that it's happening.
So do you agree with me that it's a bad thing?
So find a woman and get busy, James.
No, I'm not going to play God with my life.
Play God with your life. Having kids is playing God? What are you talking about?
Yeah, a lot of people play God because they start to worship a woman, and they get with any old woman because they want to have white babies. That's insane. That's not how you go about it. You're supposed to be led by God.
You don't have to chase a woman and chase the wrong woman, James. You can find a good woman and build a family.
Okay, Satan.
See?
Okay, Satan.
You're running away from it.
Now he agrees. He thinks that there are good women.
Well, I'm married to one, so yeah, there are.
Oh my goodness! Simp, 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 simp.
Says the guy who has no woman at all. That's just fascinating.
You don't know me.
You said.
What?
You said that you don't date, and you said that you.
I never said I don't
married.
date. What the heck? You're lying.
I'm pretty
You're
sure
a
I heard
liar.
you say you don't date. You're a fascist. You're a liar.
But I never said that I don't date. Did I ever say that I don't date?
I believe I remember you saying that.
Whatever. You don't know me.
So you do date.
I didn't say I do or don't. It's not your business.
Aha.
What? Aha, nothing. You thought that I lived in a ratty apartment because you profiled my wall as which is a beautiful wall, because you saw me recording myself reading Hake News or doing the Hake report years ago, and you're like, you live in a ratty apartment because you were mad because I said something true about your health situation and anger, and you're like, oh, you mocking me. I didn't mock. I was telling it was an analysis.
Nope, it was a mocking.
No, I was analyzing your situation as brought on by your anger.
Wrong. And you're not.
You don't know me. See, you don't know.
You wouldn't know.
I would know. You don't have to be a professional. See, communists.
You know nothing.
Only communists think you have to be a professional to know something about health.
Only fascists would dare to think that they would know without being trained at all about it.
That's dumb. You don't have to be a fascist to speak ignorantly.
That's true. Well, I'm glad you speak ignorantly. That's good. That's the first step.
I know, but it's a fair guess to say that anger produces all kinds of health problems. And you admitted that you were trying to be all things to all people and all that stuff. And you misread it as mocking because you, like a woman, misread everything.
Sure, James, sure.
I misread.
Okay,
You're so immature.
It's all about the haves versus the have-nots, and you want to still get distracted and get into the whole.
You think that it's haves versus have-nots? Communist.
I don't think I know 100%, and when 2045 gets here, it's going to be even worse.
No, it's about good versus evil, buddy.
So you can continuing to ignore that fact.
Is Trump a have or a have-not?
Keep you in the have-not category.
Is Trump a have or a have-not?
Even though he's not a billionaire, he is a have for sure.
No, it's good versus evil, buddy. It's
James,
not haves versus have-nots.
The have-nots.
No, that's a communist. You are a communist.
No, it's just reality.
It's a communist thing.
That's reality.
It's not reality, buddy.
When you have wealth and power,
you are materialist. You are unspiritual.
That could be good. It could be bad. So we kind of agree, but
are you spiritual or unspiritual?
I'm very spiritual, actually.
Then how come you think that it's about haves versus have-nots of physical, material things?
Because I know what a credit default swap is, and you have no idea. That's why.
That just shows that you're a snobby intellectual who doesn't have intelligence.
You really missed the point. You have no clue why that's such a big deal, do you? You have no idea.
No, and I'm not taking away from you that it may be a big deal, of course, but you don't really want to explain it to me, and I'm not really interested in that point at this time. You can explain it to me another call, but you're saying because you called in about hate crimes and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's communism. And then you say, no, it's not about communism versus good or evil versus good. It's about the haves versus the have-nots. And that's a phony.
And
you might as well join the Occupy Wall Street
prime
stuff.
example of that.
You might as well join the Occupy
I'm
Wall
all for
Street.
Wall Street.
We are the
I'm all for Wall
99%.
Street.
We are the 99%. Take down the 1%. That's dumb.
Do you realize that the top 1% control over 90% of the wealth in this country, James?
Good.
Haves versus the have-nots.
They should.
That's not good because that leads to the problems like I just described to you with Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers and the Fed itself. That is not good. See,
communism,
you're blissfully unaware.
The communism stuff that you promote is not the answer to it.
The fascist stuff you support is not the answer either.
Who, Trump?
No, just all your fascist stuff.
Freedom? Freedom is fascism?
You don't want freedom. You want a dictator in charge.
Well, I don't mind Trump being a dictator. It depends on the dictator. All
See,
dictators are not evil.
Boom! You just admitted it. You want a dictator.
I know, but it's better than democracy. Democracy is communism.
Un-American.
No,
evil
democracy is un-American.
fascism.
You made me crack.
It was founded on democracy.
No, it wasn't.
One man, one
That's a
vote.
lie.
One man, one vote.
Exactly, man. And it wasn't every man that got to vote. So that's not democracy.
You wouldn't have the vote either because you don't own any land.
And I'd be fine with that because landowners know better.
Well, thank you. Then you should listen to me then because I own a whole bunch of land. Thank you.
Well, not all landowners know better.
Okay, now you're backtracking. Okay.
I'm not backtracking. Landowners know
Yeah,
better
yeah.
doesn't mean that Joe from Phoenix knows better.
Oh, it does, all right.
No, it doesn't.
Someone admit it. That's fine.
Whatever.
Well, James, stay unaware, buddy. Stay unaware. Stay in that have-not category. See where that gets you.
All right. Good to hear from you, Joe in Phoenix. You snake.
You too. Have a good day.
All right.
All right, yeah. Fascist. Bye.
Bye. He's so immature. It's funny. He's older than me, too. He's like in his 50s, I think. Mark in Los Angeles, California, is on the line. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I got a couple. Good. I got a couple quick things before I start. The quickest way to get Satan off your phone, that clown that you just had on, is tell him I'm wanting to debate him. He ran away from me last week. He didn't play the chicken song.
I don't play the chicken song on Hake.
Oh, you don't play it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he ran away from the debate last week, and he was on way too long today. I know it's your show. But if you want to get rid of the devil, just tell him, hey, I got Mark on the other line, and he wants to debate you. See how fast he runs.
I mean, it's not. I don't have to like wait for him to run. I can hang up with him. I get engrossed in conversation with people who disagree with me.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah, thank you for this suggestion. I appreciate it.
I mean, I'm sure your audience is sick to their stomach listening to that guy for 15 minutes. But
it's good for your stomach to get sick now and then.
Well, I guess. My reason for the call is twofold. One, I don't know if you knew about it or not, but President Trump was interviewed in Time magazine recently, and he said openly in this interview that there is definitely an anti-white feeling running through the country.
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, did you see that?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show as well as American Anchor Baby.
And then they had Whoopi Goldberg, Satan in the female form, on The View, talking about how, you should have seen her. She went ballistic on Trump.
I did see that on
you see that?
JLP show. I think it was yesterday,
what
right?
A devil, man. I mean, that's Satan in life. That's a picture-perfect picture of the devil.
But she's Sister Act. She's a nun. She's nice. I thought. But you're right. She is. She played a nun in a Sister Act 1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But actually, she played sort of like a dirty woman turned fake nun because she was like in witness protection. But anyway, Whoopi Goldberg has been a nasty, evil, anti-white woman lately. Anti-man kind of. Lately, but as in like the past several years, because I wasn't aware of her politics until, I don't know, Obama or certainly Trump. She has Trump derangement syndrome, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And she has that deep, gruff voice. Yeah, I heard it. American Anchor Baby might have played it too, but I heard it on JLP. she's like, I was enraged. And she has about that deep of a voice. High testosterone, some of those black ladies. Shout out. And she's all, were any of your family members hung? It's hanged, Whoopi, hanged, when you're actually executed by hanging. But yeah, that was a vicious, vindictive, mean, nasty, hate-filled woman. And Trump was speaking love. Hey, let's love the whites, not hate them. And she's speaking hate and anger and bitterness and resentment and digging up the past. And how many were hanged? Was anybody in her family actually hanged? And what was the reason? Was there rape or was there a robbery, which is life-threatening, by the way, back in the hard times days? Or was it a murder for which, an alleged one of those crimes for which you were hanged? Because people weren't just hanged just for being black. They had to be black and do a crime, allegedly.
Exactly. Basically, what it comes to is 100 years ago, Negroes who attacked whites or raped our women, they were brought to justice at the end of a rope.
And that was it was basically street justice, which I suppose it's better to go through a court, but they didn't trust the courts sometimes, or they just were enraged and they took it as a violation or an attack by an outsider onto their community, if you will. And it's no different from how the blacks act today, but and actually the blacks act today worse than many of those people acted back then, I think.
Oh, 1,000 times worse. Like I said, 100 years ago, a white woman could walk down any street in the U.S. without fear.
Wow.
But the white man had a backbone then. We've been softened. We've been conditioned to accept integration and our own demise. Now, the other thing I wanted to say before, my time runs out, the scumbag president that we have wants to bring in Gazans to the U.S. and resettle them here. In the agreement where he gave all those millions or billions to Israel, in that agreement was a thing that the Israelis want, which is to send their human garbage to us in the U.S.
Oh, so we're going to get refugees here, so-called?
That's what Biden's trying to do. And I guarantee that low-life piece of trash that you just got done talking to supports it. Yesterday, when you were talking to him about South Africa, he actually said it's a growing pain. Well, when they're fully grown, is that when every white man will be gone?
Yeah.
And the country will be in total darkness?
That was insane communist denial of reality of the situation in South Africa. Now, I don't know what everyday life necessarily is. We've talked to South Africans on the Hake Report and Jesse Lee Peterson show, and some days you can get along fine, but it's not uncommon for like a truck that's bringing groceries or supplies or something, I don't know, can get roadblocked and set on fire and looted, and there's murders like crazy. It's like a dysfunctional country. And even the black South Africans were like, we had jobs when it was under white rule, So they knew that it was a better functioning country under the apartheid. As maybe apartheid wasn't fair in some ways. I'm sure.
No. Don't ever say that. That's
yeah,
what
I know.
saved it. Just like segregation. They should
just call me Chip Roy, giving credence where I don't need to, huh?
Yeah, when they ended segregation, that's when the attacks on whites increased, and that's when race mixing increased, all to our detriment. And when he says progress, believe me, in their view, what progress is killing another white farmer. I believe that guys like the snake you just talked to, they rub their hands in glee when white women are raped or white men are killed. Believe me, they're evil. If you saw Whoopi Goldberg, that represents the face of evil, the face of black rebellion in America. Trump is the face of our only hope. He's our last hope. And if we become a minority, we will be South Africa. And one other thing, there's no comparing what happened 100 years ago or even 40 years ago in South Africa to what's happening today. White men did not necklace blacks.
Right.
The only thing they did was segregate the races to save themselves.
Yeah.
And the same with Rhodesia, which is I don't know, they called it some other crazy name now, but once the country that was once called Rhodesia was very civilized, and, you know, it was a good economy, just like South Africa.
Zimbabwe
and then
now.
they had to give in to the globalists and the communists under this false equality, and look what those countries are today. And that's what the snake from your co-host wants to happen, and is desperate for it to happen here, because once they become a majority, our rights are gone. Our rights are gone. They're going to dismantle our Constitution. Remember, you have to remember this. The Constitution was written by white men for white men. Always remember that.
So
It was
let
written
me.
by white men for white men.
Do you want people to love the whites?
Well, yeah,
Why don't you love Joe then?
because he hates the white man.
But you're not supposed to
No.
hate those who hate you. The Bible, Jesus in the Bible said, "Love your enemies, do good to those who are evil to you." Because if you hate those who hate you and only love those who love you, you're no better than the pagans or whatever he
Do you
said.
remember that little song that President Trump reminds us of in some of his speeches about the snake?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Phoenix guy.
Right.
The other, his brethren snakes.
Yeah, he said,
That-
shut up, you stupid woman. You
That's the
knew I
one.
was a snake before you let me in."
That's right.
Yeah.
And with these Gazans going to be coming over
No,
here,
no,
that's the
but hold
snake.
on a minute. Okay. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, fair point. I got you. But that doesn't mean that I'm not saying love means let these people in. Of course, right? Jesus wouldn't have said, "Oh, love your enemies, let them into your country." But I'm just saying Joe, for example, is a snake, and
Absolutely.
he is already in the country. There's no letting him in or not letting him in. And there's nothing we can do or would want to do to him, or me anyway. But you harbor and wallow in these feelings of hatred for him, and he for you. And you guys are both Christians, supposedly, but you guys are enemies, and you guys don't love your enemies.
Well, let's put it this way. He stands for Satan. I stand for Jesus. I stand for Trump. He's an Obama supporter. Who's on Satan's side?
Both of you, I think, honestly.
Well, why would I be? I'm trying to save the white race. He's trying to kill us off.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't say that
Right.
because he's too much of a coward. But if you look at what his politics are, it's for our destruction.
But how do you
really
how do
is.
you stand for Jesus if you don't obey what Jesus said to love your enemies?
Well, I'm not going to get on my knees, worship him, and welcome him into my home.
But
I
is that the
remember-
only way? Is that what love means to you? Is getting on your knees and worshiping him and welcoming him in? Is that what
Well, I
love
don't
means
want
to
him
you?
in. I
Is
don't
that
want
what-
him as my neighbor. I don't want him as my fellow
I don't
American.
either. Yeah, but it doesn't you? But you can love him from afar away because he's still in Arizona, so you don't have to worry about him being your neighbor. Hopefully.
Well, he's
But-
a neighbor in
but-
a sense.
Do you know what love means?
Sure.
What?
When you love somebody unconditionally, you trust them, and you respect them. And I can't respect him. I mean, I couldn't. Him or his ilk.
I don't
just
respect
couldn't.
I don't respect anything that he's about by pretty much. I think he's a snake in the grass. I know he is. But I respect him as a human being, I guess. Or if I have any love in me or any respect in me, then I respect him as a fellow human being, and as a as a man or an imitation of a man.
Back in the 60s.
But
when the
you said
civil-
unconditionally and all this stuff. I don't think that's what, because you don't necessarily trust. Love doesn't mean to trust a person.
Well, if you're going to marry a woman that you love, I would imagine you're going to have to trust her to some degree.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about marrying Joe, obviously.
No.
I'm talking about the type of love that you have for your enemy, where you don't hate him.
Well, turn the other cheek. You only have two cheeks.
I know
How many
that.
times, can you
But
do that?
turning the other cheek is about like, okay, back in the day, I heard that if a man slaps you in the face, that's like one of the biggest insults that you can get back in the day. And getting slapped in the face doesn't necessarily, it wasn't like a knock you out slap in the face. It was a snap out of it. You're acting like an idiot slap in the face. And then you turn the other cheek, meaning you don't react in kind to the embarrassment or insult. But you're reacting in kind to the insults that he sends against you, calling you cyanide and Himmler and evil and stuff like that, and you're calling each other evil. But
but let me put it this way. The difference is when he calls me, when a thing like him calls me those names, I take it as a badge of honor. Coming from Satan, to be called those bad names
then how
is
are
a
you,
badge of honor.
But how are you provoked by him to anger? You're provoked to anger and being sick to the stomach. You're making it up, James, says Tim Scott. I know.
It's just, I guess you could say, just a natural reaction to evil. But again, the thing that I would suggest that you think about here in our American history is that the Constitution, again, was written by white men for white men. And when they put the 3/5 clause in there, saying that Negroes would be considered 3/5, that is white supremacy, and there's nothing wrong with it. The people that are attacking white supremacy feel that the Constitution was just a piece of paper written by a bunch of old white men. That's why they don't respect it. And when they become the majority, they're going to toss it out, or they're going to twist it like they've already twisted it to the point where we don't have rights anymore. That's where this is leading to. I promise you. Just look at South Africa and Rhodesia. Those are warning signs for the white man in this country. They really are. And again, I don't know how many white men and women are going to have to die with this before we straighten out as a race and get a backbone and start trying to take our country back. Because I see us as getting softer.
I agree.
And more scared.
Definitely.
And more scared.
But like you too are scared about what's coming in the country, and so you're reacting with anger and fear, and that's not good. You're supposed to react in confidence and faith.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. When you look at TV and you see a white woman in New York on the subway get punched in the face by one of these savages, do you have love for that man?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you.
But I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying that
it's a natural reaction.
Well, yeah, I mean but you don't necessarily go with that natural reaction. You act like a civilized man. You don't fall into this uncivilized endless revenge.
Let me tell you this: our Christian brothers 100 years ago, if they've caught a snake like that punching a woman in the face, he'd be hung from the highest tree in the state. Today, he doesn't even get convicted if they catch the monster. He'll be,
I know, but you're ignoring. Anyway, Matt. But you're justifying disregarding what Jesus said.
How's that? You mean we're supposed to let our women and men be murdered and raped and beaten without a reaction?
No. I'm just saying that your spirit's evil, and you're not really standing for Jesus, even though you claim to be.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
It's either a matter of truth or it's false. Either I'm right or I'm wrong. It's not a matter of an opinion.
Well, you say I should love my enemy, but you just said that you wouldn't love a man who punches a woman in the face. You just said it.
I know. I didn't say that I do right all the time. I'm just saying right versus wrong.
None of us are perfect. God will forgive us. God forgives everybody that's a Christian for any of their transgressions.
He forgives us as we forgive others.
Okay.
If we don't forgive, he won't forgive us. Jesus said that.
So when a man is executed, by the state for murder or whatever, does that mean that the state, the executioner, and all those involved are of the devil?
No, because they're not doing it with malice. They're just doing it like men, dispassionately.
Well, how can you kill some man that you love?
Because
if you love the victim or the suspect, the convicted murderer, how could you allow for him to be executed if you love him?
Because I love you, but you have to die.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. So when they lynched or brought to justice these savages 100 years ago, they were doing God's work in a sense.
If they did it in love, it all depends on their spirits, I think.
Well, love of the victim.
Yeah, well, both. Because
So
you're out of
they're gonna
control
love a
and
guy
it's
that-
time to go. This is justice. Boom.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
It's just that you could say you love everybody,
Yeah.
and
Jesus
that's
did.
a nice thought. But if you go to some parts of the world where you love everybody,
Yeah.
they're not going to show much love to you. Go to
Right. You don't. I'm
Pakistan.
not talking about hippie stuff. Like you've bought into this hippie stuff, love.
Well, I didn't.
No, I'm just saying that when I say love your enemy, that you go to stuff like that.
Well, I don't know. How can you love people that want to destroy you?
With God, all things are possible. And it's not. It might not look like what you're picturing because you're in your imagination about what actual love is. You're in your imagination about groveling and pretending being a sucker and trusting these people because everybody's modeled a fake hippie, mama, evil, lame pushover version of fake love.
Well, the old hippies, their definition of love was sex.
Right. And
So that's not what
being
I'm
suckers.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree, but I'm not advocating that.
JLP says love is simply not hating.
Okay.
So
And
you
he
can
doesn't hate anybody?
you can execute somebody if you're the executioner. They've under the orderly, civilized white man Christian way, and still not hate them.
Well, okay, in a scenario where, let's say, someone breaks into your home and is trying to rape your wife,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Are you gonna love the guy and say, "Sorry, please don't do this"?
No, because that's
I
not
mean,
what
are
love
you
is.
gonna
Love
try to
isn't.
shoot him?
Sorry, please don't R-word my wife. I would be like, love ya all the way to HE double toothpicks. I don't know what I would do, but the point is, you're not supposed to you're overcome with vindictiveness. Anyway, I gotta run, man. I think we've hashed it out. And last word, go ahead.
Yeah, just remember, the Constitution was written by white men for white men. Just remember that anytime you talk to these equality nuts. Back in the day, when they were pushing for the Civil Rights Bill to pass, Rockwell would confront these politicians and say, well, if you believe in equality, does it end at your daughter's bedroom? And most of them got tongue-tied and didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about, too. Equality stops at the bedroom door.
Yeah, no such thing as equality.
I agree.
It's a
I agree.
satanic word. Satan wanted the woman to think that she could be equal with God. All right, man.
Okay.
Good to hear from you, Mark. Interesting.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. See, I gave Mark more time than I gave this snake. Well, they're both snakes, right? We are all snakes. This is the snake pit. I'm over the break. Cotton in Indiana is on the line here. Cotton, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hake, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
Hey, I'm calling in because I got to respond to this Marx guy, man. He's throwing out lies, and you didn't catch him on something here.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, he's throwing out his dumb little racial creed. He's full of a hateful spirit, and he throws out a lie to support his dumb theory. Total nonsense about this 3/5 clause. Oh, this 3/5 clause is because the whites were proud of being white supremacy. He has not done any reading at all. He's a dummy. The 3/5 clause was put in by the Northerners. The people that wanted to count those folks as a full human being were the racist slaveholders in the South.
Yeah.
They wanted to count them as a full person.
Right.
What it was a conflict.
Was
of
it full human
civilization.
being? Did it have anything to do with full human being, or was it just a full for the population for accounting for voting power?
Yeah, you're correct. It's counting as far as how many representatives you'll get when
So it
you send
wasn't-
your representatives to Washington.
So it wasn't acting as if they weren't fully human. It's just that they didn't count for the population for the
Yes,
sake of
but the
power.
point is Yes, and the point was that the Northerners wanted the Southerners to have less power. It was whites conflicting against whites.
Right.
So he's throwing out some nonsense because he's got hate in his heart, and he wants to trick people.
Okay. You know what? I did hear it, and I didn't want to get into that aspect of it, of the conversation. I'm glad you brought this back, this 3/5 compromise, because it didn't have anything to do with demeaning the value of black people. It had to do with power, a power struggle between the states.
Absolutely correct. It had to do with demeaning these white Southerners.
Right.
Northern Southerners taking away the power from the whites. Northerners taking away the power from the Southern people, and it finally culminated in that terrible war.
Yeah. You just went after Mark. How do you know he doesn't do any reading? You said he doesn't do any reading. I mean, just because maybe he was oversimplifying or caricaturing the 3/5 compromise, which I mostly hear blacks doing that. I'll hear blacks say, "Oh, they said we were 3/5 human." Like, it had nothing to do with you. It had to do with power. It was politics. It had nothing to do with demeaning you as a human. But now this guy said the other way. I get that he was off in that, I guess. I agree with you, I think. But why do you say he doesn't do any reading? Aren't you going overboard against him?
If you hear me out, I believe I was taking it real easy on him because there's really only two possibilities.
Okay.
Either that he's ignorant and hasn't done reading, which I'm being very fair to him.
Oh, okay.
The other possibility is he has read and he does know and he's straight malicious.
Oh.
So, no, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's just ignorant.
What about, so you're talking about he didn't do any reading on this issue or whatever.
The only other possibility is that he did do the reading and he's outright lying to spread his racial hatred. That's wrong.
Is he wrong that the Constitution was made by white men for white men?
I think he is wrong. Yeah, I think it was made by white men for human beings.
But I don't think they were thinking about all human beings. Or, well, you didn't say all human beings, but for human beings, I don't think that they were wanting I think that the founders would be aghast if they saw us as America is today with all of its diversity crap. You know what I mean? Don't you think?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Because they said
I believe
for
that
us and our posterity. So they wanted something similar to their children, their children's children, and maybe some immigrants to come in and become Americans. Go ahead.
Well, I think it would have been very simple for them to write into the Constitution, white men. It's not as if they didn't understand how to be explicit about things. What they were saying in the Declaration, Jefferson says, is that all men are created equal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the state of civilization was ready for something like that, but written into the Constitution was a possibility and a potential for us to develop in love for one another. And there could be states included in the Union where that's for these folks, skin colors, religions, that's for these ones. We could have stayed separated and it would have still followed the Constitution and we could have kept our posterity.
You're talking about we could have kept segregation going and been fine? Is that what you just said?
I'm saying that the development of the civilization could have taken any number of forms. And yeah, they would be horrified to see what the country is like now. But the country was not founded with the explicit purpose of some kind of racial doctrine. That is absurd.
Well, they didn't see it coming. They knew that. I know that in the Constitution, or I know that when they founded the country, there was a conflict about slavery and stuff. Maybe some of them sort of saw this racial issue coming, but it wasn't the issue that it is today. Back then, it was 90% white, I thought, or more. And they, although the Constitution doesn't say it, doesn't our early immigration law say free white men of good character can be immigrants into the country? So they kind of were racial on some level.
I've heard of that quote before. I'm not an expert on that one, but I would say that it sounds like you're quoting something federal. And
federal immigration law.
Yeah, that's going to cause problems if you strip the states of their rights to make up their own immigration laws. All of this could have been avoided in a Jeffersonian idea of 50 state units, 13, 15, as it counts. We could keep adding states. Canada can be a state.
Isn't immigration a federal issue and not a state's issue?
Yeah, but that's where we've gone sideways, man, is all the states have been destroyed after the Civil War by this federal idea that we're one country called America instead of one country called Kentucky, one country called Indiana, yada, yada, yada.
Because state meant country. A state meant its own country, basically, and then we were a united set of states. Because, yeah, I'm with you that, do you think the states wanted diversity stuff back then? I don't think the states really wanted that either. But you're making an interesting point about states' rights. I'm with you on states' rights because now Texas and Arizona don't have the right to protect their state against illegals because the federal government wants to force the states to accept illegals into their state, and so it is a mess.
Right.
Are you black or white or mixed or what are you, or Hispanic?
Let me try to hit the H. Whole white. White.
You're white.
Oh, white man.
Wow. I was thinking you were black. You're not a first-time caller. You've called into my show, haven't you, or no?
Yeah, I've called in over the years. I've been listening to you for a long time.
Nice, man. I'm surprised you're from Indiana. Is that the South or is that the Midwest?
I'm on a road trip, man.
Oh, okay. Are you from the
I
South?
just happen to be in Indiana right now.
You don't sound very Southern. Are you a Southerner?
I grew up in the city, so a lot of influences, a lot of input in the way that I speak, I suppose. I don't talk like my parents, I can tell you that.
Are they Southerners? Not to dox you completely. I just want to partial dox you. Or is it Southerner or not?
No, it's not a city accent. I don't believe it's a West Coast city accent.
Oh, right on. You do sound like me. Or I don't know if you sound like me, but you sound like normal people from California. So last question, and is Cotton a name given you by your parents?
No, I'm calling in with a pseudonym.
Right on, I respect it.
I used to call you under my real name, but I'll use the pseudonym Cotton from now on. Hey,
cool,
is it true that you have Indian in you?
I don't know.
I've heard that you had some Indian.
I don't know if it's true or not. That's what my I remember at being a kid, and I'm not saying it's a true memory, but I'm pretty sure. My father gathering us around saying the doctors found Indian blood in Grandpa. And so we started marching in a circle going, hi. And nobody else in my family corroborates this story. Well, they don't really confirm or deny it. And I've pretended to believe it might be a dream, but I don't believe that it was a dream. Because at the time, I remember it quite clearly. So I don't know if I have Indian blood in me or not.
You do. It's real. You do.
All right. Well, it's great hearing from you, man. I'm surprised a little bit at your very easy attack on Mark on his racial views, because I don't really care. I don't really mind. I in fact, at least partly, if not mostly, agree with him about the race issue. It's just his anger is what's wrong. And when you are angry, you believe a lie and go too far. So
yeah, he's poisoning the well here.
Yeah.
Don't let people slide with that 3/5 thing. It's one of the easily disproven fallacies, errors in our country. Millions of folks are taught that it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Right on, man. Are you roughly my age, 30s, 40s, 20s, something like that?
Roughly your age, yep.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Good to hear from you, Cotton in Indiana. Take care, man.
You too.
All right, bye. Guys, we are at nearly the bottom of the hour. I will get back to calls and stories. But it's time for some, it's Jen's Lekman Thursday, guys. I saw her at the anti-war demonstration from the 2004 album, You Are the Light. or the 2005 album, Oh, You're So Silent, Jens, or something like that. Caller is a snake. I like Mark better. This guy is a weaker Jen. Says Sir Buggy Guyberger. Hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. It's kind of topical. The anti-war demonstration. Has there ever been a good anti-war demonstration? Not that war is good either, but enjoy or press mute. Go outside, shovel snow, plant your garden, harvest your crops. Be right back. For the last half hour of hour 2. Enjoy.
But I have already lost patience. You might find me sitting by on the pavement, or maybe not, 'cause I have shrunk. I fell in love with a punk and she took my breath. Now there's nothing left but love enough to feed a family. But I just wanna feed Emily with lukewarm English beer and vegan pancakes. I saw her in the anti-war demonstration. Was a sweet sensation of love. When I was 16, I hung out with the kids who lacked it. The kind of punks who were born in leather jackets. The kind of punks who placed themselves in brackets. And she was one of them. Back then she was somebody's girlfriend, and I was no one, I had nothing. And the skies were clear blue skies, and her eyes were clear blue eyes, and her thighs were about the same size as mine. And we were walking in the anti-war demonstration. Was a sweet sensation of love, of love. It was a sweet sensation of love.
Nice. I know it's commie. I'm Ben Shapiro. Isn't that nice? Rick Nelson vibes, Jonathan Richmond notes, says Tim Scott. I'll pass on spiders. Beautiful spiders. Isn't that kind of fun song? You know, it's you know, it's like a conversation piece or whatever. Thank you guys for bearing with me through the beautiful music. I got to read some super chats before I get back to calls and maybe stories. Over on streamlabs.com, pardon me, / the Hake Report, Lin Yan Chin states in multiple chats, Hassan, Lord Goodhair is black, so doesn't trust or understand me, Lin Yan Chin, and he feared displaying the principle of time under tension. That's true. I did sort of half-heartedly do it, but you couldn't pick it up. Not even half-hearted, like quarter-hearted, 3/5 heart. Back to your spine. Strengthen its structure through slightest tension, flex on abs. Abs are right here, the front, the belly. Tummy. Don't say tummy. It's girly. While exhaling in through relaxing the flex. Exhaling in. Where tension flows properly, bottom to top. Your spine will slightly sway like a sine wave. Sine waves go like this. This breath flow, when made a habit, will fortify your posture-related muscles, and fortify your CNS, central nervous system. Not CNS news. Central nervous system, to the point of overcoming some genetic limits, and perhaps some formula baby limits. Some non-breastfed limits, perhaps. Who knows? TUT reveals all. Tut. Tension under time, or time under tension. Hassan, of in and out flow, make it without pause. The more even your breath, the more stable your spine. The more stable your spine is, the more focused your mind. Try it now. Breathe without pause. Gradually flex your abs on exhale, then relax into inhale. Like this. Sorry, Lin Yunjin and people. That's because I read the super chat before, and he's doing it. He's trying. He has his fingers clasped over his abdomen. Lin Yunjin. Hey Hassan, because yesterday's super chat said, "Hey Hassan, have you learned to use your abdominal muscles to flex off that fatigue in your lower back and enhance focus of your mind? Please try." And I don't know, maybe he's profiling him as having fatigue in his lower back because he's a sloucher. He goes like this. He's like chilling like a gangster. Or not like a hip hopper. He was comfortable. He takes up the room. It's his presence. He has presence. But he could also have presence with proper spinal alignment too, is what Lin Yunjin is saying. Flex off fatigue in lower back and enhance focus of your mind. Please try. Not too hard, but try. Relax for in-breath. Tighten for out. Focus on your ki. And he pronounces, it looks like he's pronouncing chi as ki, which is fine. I think that's how he would pronounce it. I always thought it was chi, but it's also ki. Nice. Thank you, Lin Yunjin. Appreciate that. That's cool. Over on buymeacoffee.com/the Hake report, truck driver bought a coffee. Hey, truck driver, do you drive a lot? Senor James, I saw you had a miniature version of Joe the snake in the studio. By the way, did you know dinosaurs are fake? Don't tell me that. I'm disappointed because I found out that dinosaurs had feathers and not scales. They were more like birds rather than lizards. And I want my lizards to be huge. Birds are pretty cool. Birds are pretty cool. I didn't know dinosaurs are fake. I thought they just were extinct. But truck driver is a flat earther because he drives the long haul across the country. He's a landlubber. Or land lover? Landlubber. Landlubbers can't see the obvious glow because they don't ever see the ocean. I'm making that up about truck driver. So pardon me for my slanderous misinformation against truck driver. Thank you, man. Yeah. And PopcornsThumpKeg, I believe, with a coffee. An overflowing coffee. In a small town, USA, a group of downtown shopkeepers have been accusing lots of young people, of shoplifting. In the span of 1 month, the police are called over 100 times. This may or may not be a true story. On several occasions, the police have shown up, sirens blaring. Wow, that must be a nice town, a small town. Sirens blaring about shoplifting, repeated violations. Allegedly. As crowds gathered around the store, police searched backpacks, pockets. Yeah, you're not supposed to bring your backpack into the store. Pockets and clothing and find absolutely nothing. Shopkeeper says they must have given this stuff to one of their buddies. The young men are free to go and the crowd disperses. This goes on for months and months, with different people being accused. Each time the police find nothing. Dozens of youth are repeatedly detained, searched, and ultimately released. 2 years later, the police are reviewing surveillance tape and find one man stealing a watch. My question to you is, should the young man who stole the watch be charged and punished or be let go? He should be, it sounds like he should be charged and punished if he actually did steal the watch. You said you were in favor of overturning Weinstein's conviction, even if he was guilty of ape ray, because it happened within the context of the Me Too, a wave of accusations against men. Yep. And because it was in the past. And on top of that, he didn't, like, I find it hard to believe that he R-worded anybody. But anyway, by that same standard, I kind of poisoned the well of his super chat. Let's say because it was in the context of the Me Too thing. Yep. And because in the Me Too was vindictive, self-righteous stuff. And because it was in the past. I think you misheard me if I'm saying because it was in the past. Oh, in the distant past. I don't know if you completely understood my statement, because I don't even understand your portrayal of my defense, my free Weinstein defense. Free Harvey Weinstein. Epstein did nothing wrong, by the way. By the same standard, you'd have to be for freeing the young man who stole the watch, because even though he was guilty of stealing, it happened during a rash of shopkeepers making false accusations. But the Me Too isn't about just false accusations. It's not just whether it's false or not. It's about its revenge. It's something that happened between them. It wasn't even necessarily it wasn't even necessarily forcible R-word. Did he forcibly R-word, or was it this power dynamic, calling it a power dynamic? Oh, she can't say no because he's a big, powerful man and she wants a job. Was it that type of thing, you know? Oh, he intimidated me. I was under duress. That type of thing. No, I'm not for letting the guy get off, because there's actual proof. There's actual proof. There's no actual proof, according to Mike Cernovich, of Weinstein being guilty of those major crimes that they convicted him of which they convicted him. At least that's according to Mike Cernovich, who, pretty fair-minded guy. He's no Weinstein fan. So, cute little scenarios trying to catch me, PopcornsThumpKeg. Nice. Nice. Let me double check over on Rumble and D Live. Shout out to Beta Legs for the ice creams, and GG Cash, Kid Combo 1.0 for the lemon, Misty for the ice cream, GMD Jim as always for the support, man. Now I understand why Hake does not have a woman. What is that? Why? And you don't know. You don't know me. I'm doing fine. I'm sorry. I'm sad. 2014. Doing fine. Hope you're fine. What's up, Bethany? What's up, Cash Daily? Nice to see you, man. Hey. Hey. Remember, kids, socialists don't love the poor. They just hate the rich, he says. That's a fact, Jack. Stephen in Maryland is on the line here. Stephen in Maryland, thank you for calling. What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, sir?
Hey, long time no hear. I'm doing fine, too.
Ain't been that long ago.
Yeah.
Look, I'm calling in reference to this character, Mark.
Yeah.
I sure would like to meet him in person and know what this savage can do.
What's that mean?
Didn't he just call me a savage?
He called you a savage?
Yes, he did.
I don't believe that he's even aware of you.
Oh, he know. He said savage is S on the end.
Savages, S on the end.
Savages, yes, S.
Savages? Yeah, but there's more than one savage, but it doesn't necessarily include you.
It includes me. He's talking about me because I'm a black man.
But every black isn't a savage?
That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
He said savages.
Does he call Jesse Lee Peterson an honorable black man? Or an honorable Negro or whatever he calls him?
I don't know what he called him.
Yeah, he calls him that. So how do you know that?
Wait a minute. What did he call Jesse?
An honorable Negro or whatever.
Honorable. Why is he honorable?
Because he's an honorable man. He's a man of honor.
I mean, what makes him honorable?
Well, he's honest. He's
honest.
Yeah, he loves everybody like Jesus. He's humble.
No, he don't. He don't love Jesus.
He tells the truth.
He don't love Jesus.
He helps people look at themselves and wake up and snap out of it, and then he lets them not do that too if they don't want to. That's pretty honorable.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse Lee
Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson
does not like God, and he does not like Jesus.
He is like them.
He's making a mockery of
he's
God.
He's a godly brother of Jesus.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
Yes, huh?
No.
Yes.
You want to know why?
Why? Are you the one who's 87?
Huh?
Are you the one who's 87?
Yes, sir.
Dang, nice. What an honor. Go ahead. What about JLP?
He's gonna be down there shoveling coal with me.
Nice.
I'll be there before him.
You're talking about Are you talking about HE double toothpicks like hell? Shoveling?
Yeah.
Do people shovel coal in hell?
He's gonna be down there.
You're gonna be down there too?
Yes, sir.
Why? Because you're a savage?
Nope.
Jesse Lee Peterson does have savage moments. Shout out to Get a Job.
No, he's not a savage.
Oh. But he's black, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Why do you say he's going
to
HE double toothpicks?
For the mark.
Huh?
For the mark, he's a savage too.
You're making that up because you're putting words in Mark's mouth that Mark doesn't even agree with.
Mark says savages. He's talking about black people.
Not necessarily.
He didn't say all. He didn't say all.
He didn't say all.
Like Jesse does. He just said most.
Who did? Who said most?
I guess that's what Mark says. If you're not including Jesse.
Well, I mean, it depends on how the blacks act. He judges the blacks based on how they act and talk.
He got a nerve to talk about how I'm talking about acting savage. Oh, God. Well, anyway,
I mean, savages are humans. Savages are human beings like the American Indians when they were like scalping people.
Too?
Some of them, yeah. So did the founders. You ever heard of the Declaration of Independence? It talked about the king sicked the merciless Indian savages on us who had no regard for age or sex or children or how well somebody was doing health-wise. They just mercilessly killed people. Merciless savagery.
I mean, why did they kill them?
Because they were fighting. They were hateful.
There you go. Bingo. That was their enemy.
And so and so they were bringing merciless Indian savages about it, though.
They didn't bring them there. They was already here.
It doesn't mean that doesn't mean you treat people viciously and savagely.
He was killing them first.
We were?
Yes, sir.
How do you know that? You don't know that.
Plus the Vikings. Remember the Vikings?
You're making that up.
Remember them?
I heard about them. I don't remember them. Shout out to the Vikings.
You don't read too much then, right?
I mean, I heard about it. I don't read too much, no.
Oh, I thought so. Okay. You like Jesse Peterson. He don't read too much either.
Do you read too much?
Oh, yes, I read a lot. That's how I got in my field I was in.
But then that could mean that you're brainwashed because you're not supposed to believe everything that you read.
Why not? It's in a book.
Lots of lies get into books, buddy. I mean,
how about
sir.
the Bible? How about the Bible?
Same thing. You should. The Bible is factual, but
how do you know that's factual?
Because it's in the Bible.
There you go. It's a book too, right?
Yeah, but every book isn't equal to the Bible.
You believe what's in that book?
Huh?
What you read, right? You believe what's in the Bible in the book, right?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily believe that I know how to interpret it, because the Bible could be interpreted in many different ways, and so I don't necessarily have the truth just because I know what the Bible says.
Okay, that's the same way I do without a regular book.
Yeah, so you may be interpreting that the the white man killed the Indians first, but you don't know which actually killed first. It's not documented
They
who
had
killed
to.
who
They
first.
came in there to their land.
Just because you took their land doesn't mean you had to kill them. Maybe they
What did
made
they
a
do with
deal.
them?
They pushed them out. They
Yeah, there you go.
they made deals and they made deals.
Oh, they killed some.
They
too.
made great deals. They killed one
How,
another.
wait a minute. How's a poor white man from England going to make a bargain? What they
They
going to
were not
What
poor.
they going to trade? A what?
They were not necessarily poor. What are you talking about?
They were poor, most of them.
Many of them were, but the founders were rich.
Most of them. Not all, but most.
Whatever.
Even had a black man up
Do
there.
you agree
Christopher
with
Adams.
everything that's in Mein Kampf? Have you ever heard of Mein Kampf?
Oh, yeah. I read that.
Is that factual? Everything is factual in that book?
Yes, sir.
Whoa. I disavow. I have never read it.
You see what happened to Germany, didn't you?
I did. I mean,
They
I
erased
mean,
all the Jews they could find.
they have rape refugees there, I heard.
There you go.
Not good.
Well, they thought it was good.
Who's they?
But Hitler came over here and got the idea how to exterminate the Jews. Did you know that?
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't know
Right,
what the
but
whole
I don't
truth
know.
is about that history stuff. I shouldn't have even brought
That's
this
what
up.
I say. You got to read. You got to read.
I know,
son.
but reading
Read.
isn't going to tell you everything. I'm for reading a little bit, okay, kids?
A little bit.
Do as Hake says, not as Hake does. Read. It's
That's
it's fun, but don't believe everything you read or see or think or hear or feel.
Well, I believe everything I feel now.
Oh wow, this tells me a lot about you. You
If
sound
I
like
hit
a
you
liberal.
upside your head, you're gonna feel that, right? And you gonna believe it.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about emotions and because you get into your imagination, Stephen and Marilyn. You think Jesus is going to HE double toothpicks when he's living in heaven on earth.
I ain't said Jesus. I said Jesse.
I mean Jesse,
But you
Jesus'
what now?
brother.
Is that his brother? I guarantee you.
How you know?
He can talk all that crap he want, but I know what Jesse do.
Jesse
I know exactly
helps
what
wake
Jesse do.
wake people up.
No.
Yes, huh? Yes,
Well,
yes,
he
yes,
might
yes.
do that too,
Yep.
but he also do something else.
Stephen
They
and
gonna
Marilyn,
wind
you're a
him
mess.
Way down in the deepest bowels of hell.
Well, you're
You don't want to go with him, do you?
aren't you a nasty person?
No, I ain't. I'm telling the truth.
You're not telling the truth?
The truth is the light.
No, you're not telling the truth. You're just spouting off. You're made up. You make up stuff. Like the white
I ain't
man
made up
had to
nothing
kill the
I
black
said.
man, and that just... wait, are you justifying what the merciless Indian savages did to women, children, and old people and sickly?
What savages? Merciless? Why are they savages?
Because how they acted.
They're on their land.
Savage.
Their
define.
land.
Savage of an animal or nature. That just because they were on the land doesn't mean that they
Right.
weren't savages.
Well,
A
white people savages?
brutal or vicious person, a fierce or violent or uncontrolled person, ferocious. And just because you are on some land doesn't mean that you're not
You
savage.
defending your land.
No, they weren't necessarily
This
even
is
defending
mine.
their land. They didn't even
This is
own land.
mine.
They didn't even believe in ownership of land.
What do you mean they ain't defending it?
They didn't own it.
They didn't have deeds or
they were
nothing like you
many
guys
of them
had.
were nomads. They set up teepees.
Where they go? Teepees? What else they gonna live in?
They could build buildings if they had the sense. They could cut down
Not that they
trees
had
and
the
build
sense,
log
they had to
cabins.
have- They didn't have that idea over here yet.
Right, because the white man didn't bring it. And then the white
I
man
don't
made
think
it
the white man
civilized.
brought it either, because they didn't live in cabins in England either.
We made things more civilized.
Oh.
I got to run, man. It's nice talking to you. It's good to hear from you. But I
One
don't
thing before.
I think maybe
I want to-
maybe Mark from Los Angeles would call you a savage since you're
Give him my
justifying
number.
you're justifying
Give him my number.
No, man.
Give it to him.
No, that's not how it works on
If
the
he
Hake
want it,
report.
Well,
Call
tell him
call
next time he
tomorrow.
call,
I'll call tomorrow, man.
and tell him to give me my number, right?
You're a
Because I'll
mess.
come visit him.
Oh Lord,
87
come on! You're
years old,
talking
I'll
all
come
big. You're 87 years old, dude.
And I'll come visit.
Take care. Stephen in Maryland.
Okay, you too.
All right. Bye. Oh, Lord. Jaime in Minnesota. Jaime in Minnesota. You have a minute. Go.
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going well. How are you?
What's wrong with the blacks?
You're asking me.
Yeah.
They
the
are
whites
in their heads. They are in their imaginations. Say again?
It's happening to the whites. It's happening to the whites, too, the lowercase W whites.
Yeah. It is.
Hey,
insanity,
I wanted to
huh?
call and talk to you about what Joe and Mark were talking about. You see, Mussolini, he wasn't just like a socialist, communist guy. He didn't believe in God. He was an atheist.
Oh.
And to be a communist, you got to not believe in God. Communism goes against God.
Right.
And accepting any communistic ideas is your path towards being an atheist. And that Mark guy would do well if he thought of respecting his enemy. Because he thinks of love as like the mama's love.
Right.
Me and you, we know when we're talking about love, we're talking about the father's love.
Right.
And when the father's son or brothers are acting out and acting up, we know not to spare the rod,
Yeah.
That's a loving thing. So like a Christian killing, or going to war with those Indians, those Indians,
yeah,
they did it out of love. But the Indians, they didn't know God. They weren't Christian. They were savages. They eat each other and all that kind of stuff. So when they went to war with the Europeans that came over here, they were doing it out of hate.
I got to run, Jaime in Minnesota. You're making a great point, but I got to close.
No. Great show. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you, man. Take care. Guys, this has been the Hake Report. I got to play Hippopotamus instead of Miles Well. Enjoy Mary Rice Hopkins Thursday. No Tora Torrance. Hip, hip, hooray, Hippopotamus. Adios, America. Joel Friday next. Bye. I was singing this.
In the beginning, God made the sea and the forest filled with trees. He made the mountains up so high. On the very top, He placed the sky.
The firmament.
God's fingerprints are everywhere, just to show how much He cares. In between, He had loads of fun. He made a hippo who weighs a ton. Hip, 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 hippopotamus. Hip, hip, hooray, God made all of us. Hip, 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 hippopotamus. Hip, hip, hooray, He made us.
Hippopotamuses kill Africans more than any other animal.
Creation sings of His praise. The sparrow and the tiny babe. We can sing and say, well done. But some things He just made for fun.
Like alpha jerky.
Hip, 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 hippopotamus. Hip, hip, hooray, God made all of us. Hip, 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 hippopotamus.
Hip, hip, hooray, God made us. Kinda catchy, NGL, not gonna lie. That's right, guys.
In the beginning, God made the sea and the forest filled with trees. He made the mountains up so high. On the very top, He placed the sky.
Right here, the sky.
God's fingerprints are everywhere, just to show how much He cares. In between, He had loads of fun. He made a hippo who weighs a ton.
Singing
Hip, 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 hippopotamus.
Rick,
Hip, hip, hooray, God made all of us.
can't get to ya.
Hip, hip, hippopotamus. Hip, hip, hooray, He made us.
Hake is so manly.
Everybody
Singing
sing
hip, 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 hippopotamus.
Hip, hip, hooray, God made all of us. Hip, 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 hippopotamus.
Hip, hip, hooray, He made us. Hippos will not save you. Adios, America. Thank you, Hassan. Bye.